All right, welcome to Color Theory. I know you guys are excited. We're excited to teach you. I'm Professor Olson. We also have joining us Professor Wood. You are either in her section or my section. I think I'm teaching two sections, so we are your instructors. We're going to go through every Monday, we're going to go through a presentation like this where we're going to hopefully give you direction, inspire you, give you some more information, and then you'll do the assignments for our FSO. Your participation in the live session is really important, and I'm so glad many of you have showed up tonight. It's a lot more fun to be here than it is to just watch a recording of other people having fun. I promise you. So with that, we'll get started. There's me. I haven't put Sabrina's contact info in yet in this lecture, but she's in FSO. If she's your instructor, you have a way of contacting her. I'm just going to jump out here. A big important component of our instruction online is Slack. And there is a channel for Color Theory. I had it listed incorrectly earlier. So I'm going to show you this. It's course_CTH. And here you will find our campus studio artist, Omar Martinez, Sabrina Wood, our instructor, myself. We will jump in here. We'll answer questions. Even if you're not in my class, we'll probably answer questions. So will Omar. So we're here to help you. Usually, if you have some technical issue going on, we can solve it for you in a few minutes if you get on Slack. So join Slack, course_CTH.
And then the added benefit is that we post, articles and different things like that. So you get to learn more, and you get to learn more from your peers as well.
As demonstrated here by Sabrina's post of 10 common mistakes to avoid when designing a t-shirt. All right, so that's a bit of contact. The most heartbreaking thing we can hear as instructors is, I didn't know how to do this, and I didn't reach out, and now I'm getting a bad grade because I didn't know what to do. We're here to help you. That's what we love to do. So reach out. I never want to hear anyone say, I didn't want to bother you. It's not a bother. This is what we love. This is why we teach. It's not for the money, right, Sabrina? All right, so color theory. What you're going to learn this month, the science of color theory. There's a bit of science. Color in its cultural and psychological applications. Get an understanding of different color systems, color management, a little bit of marketplace, understand image processing and color management, and some bit about print technology. We're going to use Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, and Adobe InDesign as our tools this month. Some of you may not be super familiar with InDesign. We need to get you up to speed on that as soon as possible. So reach out if you think you need extra help. There's also a link to a LinkedIn Learning assignment that's a 30-minute overview of InDesign, and it'll give you the basics you need, but also in the tutorials for the course, you'll see the use of InDesign. And if you ever get stuck, I'll just say this in general, if there's ever a technical issue that gets you stuck for a long period of time, take a deep breath, reach out for help, because nothing in this class should be technically strenuous. I should say that. It should be creatively strenuous. Coming up with ideas is the hard part. This is what our week looks like. Now, every week is going to have the same sort of rhythm to it. So every Monday we'll have a live session, and we'll go over the assignments for the week. On Thursday, we have a discussion. Every week we have a discussion. You're going to post your work in progress in the discussion by Thursday. Now, this is kind of a little scary for some people. It's like, well, my work isn't done. I don't really like it. It's okay. You can post whatever you've got on Thursday, and at noon on Thursday, we're going to give you some feedback, some live critique. If you're able to be there at noon on Thursday, even better, because we can have some back and forth and discuss your work. But we'll give whatever work is posted in the discussion, we'll give them a critique, and you get to go back and rework everything and submit it for a grade after you've had the feedback. I always hated, like when I took online courses, like they give you the feedback after you've submitted. Now there's nothing you can do about it. That's not how we're working. So Thursday, submit your work in progress. Friday, provide some feedback to a peer. This ensures that you're looking at your peers and seeing what they're doing, getting a sense of where you are in terms of your skill level. Are you up to speed with everybody else, or do you need extra help? We'll probably also give some feedback on Friday at noon. And here and this week, you see I say task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4. This is a guideline for getting things done. If you don't complete it by Friday, you will not be in big trouble. It's just to sort of keep you on track for getting everything done by Sunday. Excuse me. So you're going to complete the hero portrait on Sunday. There's also a test this week. Now I'll say this about the tests. My philosophy on tests, open book. If you are doing the test and you don't know the answer or you're not sure, stop, don't answer, and go look it up. And if you really get stumped and you don't know the answer to a question on the quiz, it's a 10-question quiz, you can ask me and I'll tell you the answer. How's that? That's part of what watching the live session video is really about. You get tips like that. So only those who watch this will know that. This is the month. So the first week we're doing this hero portrait. The subsequent 3 weeks we're doing a brand identity project. So basically 2 projects. The first one's an intro project, and the second one is more of a workflow, overall arching project that's really going to take your skills to a new level, get you up to speed with using the programs in concert with each other as part of a process. So we're really excited that you're here this month, and we can't wait to show you all the tricks and tips we know. All right, so here, this is a painting by Johannes Itten. He was a member of the Bauhaus, Swiss designer. And he said, only those who love color are admitted to its beauty and immanent presence. It affords utility to all, but unveils its deeper mysteries only to its devotees. All right, so what is Itten talking about? Now I'm gonna ask you in the class, if you are able to turn on your microphone and answer, that is the best. But if you have to do the chat window, Sabrina will read them for me. How does color afford utility? How is color useful? Can you think of a way we use color that's very useful? Ashley, I'm not hearing you.
It shows emotions or feelings.
Emotions or feelings, yeah. Emotions and feelings are important, but they're not necessarily utilitarian.
Like traffic lights?
Yeah, traffic lights, Nick, exactly. So red light means stop, green light means go. It's useful. Most people in the world have this kind of experience with color where it's kind of useful to them. You know which milk you're getting. Are you getting the low fat or the regular based on the color? Flavors of things are colors. When you see that bright green can, is it a pesticide or lemon lime soda? Color tells us a lot of information, so people use it a lot. But here's the thing. You, as designers, are going to become devotees of color. And what I'll tell you is that this course will not teach you everything about color. This will hopefully set your mind ablaze, and you will go out into the world and explore the world of color on your own. We're hopefully giving you the tools to get started on that journey, but this will be a lifelong process. And really, that's what we want, to spark your interest, your enthusiasm, and your curiosity about color so that you come to some conclusions on your own and find your own tools, find your own ways of working through color, and observe how others are using it and how they make it work for them. So what is color? How we talk about color is important. Does it have depth? Is it dark, light, all these different things? If you think about it, color is the most effective tool in your toolkit. As a designer, for instance, type is really important. You put type on a page It has to be written in a language the viewer understands. The viewer has to be able to read. They read the word, they get an idea, it sort of forms in their mind. Mission complete. With color, it comes right at us. It goes right into us. It affects us so deeply. We use color to describe our emotions as human beings. If you walk into a room that's a certain color, it can affect your mood right away. When some people are affected by the weather, like cloudy, sunny, like this is all color and light affecting us as humans. So I'm going to show you some colors, and I want you guys to give me sort of your first words that pop into your head when you see these colors. And first up is red. All right, what comes to mind when you see red?
Danger.
Danger, yeah.
Anger.
Anger, yep. Stop anger, heat, says Bryant. I got the chat window up.
Okay. I was about to read that.
Yeah, anything positive with red? Is there a positive side to red? These are a lot of negative words.
They use red for hearts for love and the Red Cross.
Yes, hearts, love, the Red Cross, which is healing. How can love and anger be one color? What do you guys think? It's true that they are, right? Red is love and anger. It absolutely is. Lust, seduction. All right. Shayna, I love that.
They're kind of the same, like two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, they are. That is so true. It's kind of like intensity. So red has a certain intensity that bridges the gap between these paradoxical ideas like love and hate, anger, seduction. It's just not a color that is subtle. Like this isn't like just putter around the edges. It goes right to the heart, so to speak. So it gets used a lot in marketing and stuff, but it's true that every color has a sort of paradoxical life. And so when you look at colors, you can see it one way or another based on how it's used, and certain aspects of the tint and the shade and all that really direct the viewer a different way. Here's pink. What comes to mind when you guys see pink?
I instantly think of my daughters. They're really into like unicorns and anything like pretty, pink, shiny.
So perhaps youthful, maybe feminine,
Soft.
soft, yeah. Yeah, I think it's all those things. It tends to be used as sort of a shorthand for femininity, which is kind of unfortunate because women are more than just one color, right? But, you know, like boys are blue, girls are pink, but we're really not. We're all colors. Yeah, it tends to be kind of youthful, and it can be very innocent and, you know, like babies, but it can also be kind of sexy and sultry. So there's a bit of paradox there as well. And it hasn't always been associated with femininity. You know, if you look through history, there's some great stuff about pink throughout history. All right, orange. What comes to mind when you see orange? Nothing. It makes your mind blank.
She's
I instantly
smiling.
relate with.
Well,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ashley.
It makes me think of my homeschool, my team colors, because it was black and orange. It makes me think of home, and it also makes me think of Halloween because it's one of the dominant colors you related to it.
Yeah, that is great, Ashley. So yeah, colors have different associations based on how you experience them as you were younger. And Halloween is definitely one of them. Fall, autumn colors. Anything negative with orange? Depends on how good life was at your old school. All right, I think orange can sometimes be a little tacky and cheeky, you know, but other times it can be quite elegant. It depends on how it's being used. it has a certain heat to it, but it's not the same as red. It tends to be associated with creativity, which is why I think that orange is one of the brand colors of Full Sail University. Did anyone think of that? No? All right. All right, yellow. What comes to mind when you see yellow?
Sunny. Happy.
Yeah, right, Daniel.
Cool.
Sunny, happy.
Sunflowers.
Sunflowers. Yeah, that's a good one.
I kind of get a mellow, like slow down kind of feeling from yellow.
Mellow yellow. I
Yeah.
like it. All
We
right.
have in the chat field peace, happiness, bright, positive.
And Brian said caution. A little foreshadowing of the paradox of yellow. All right. Yeah, yellow. Flowers, a field of flowers, happiness, peace, flower children. We're all happy. But what about that warning? Snakes that are black and yellow. Not a good snake. There's a snake in the daisies. So again, it depends on how you use the color, but every color has a sort of paradox to it, and it's fun to play with it one way or another. Yellow, you know, depending on how you push it, it can be more sickly, and then it can be more bright and cheerful. It all depends on how you use it. You pair it up with black, and suddenly it has a different meaning. Blue, what comes to mind when you see blue?
I think
Same.
calm.
Yeah, Ashley says calm.
I think of the ocean. I think of adventure.
Ocean adventure, yeah. People say blue sky when they mean like being creative and just thinking of anything you want to think of. Let's blue sky this, come up with any ideas. But Samantha says sadness, depression. Yeah, Bryant gets it too. We have some definite attitude adjustments. Yeah, it's true. It's all those things. So it can be very peaceful and meditative and new agey. It can also be sort of corporate and conservative. It could be depressing. Colors have so many meanings, and it's all based on how you use them. People love, in a survey, people most often say that blue is their favorite color. I don't know why that is. But I will tell you all, as designers, you don't have a favorite color because you understand that every color, there's a quote from Shakespeare, there's nothing either good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. There are no colors that are good or bad, but how you use it makes it so. Green, what comes to mind when you see green?
Life.
Yeah, life. Growing leaves, trees.
There's also that paradox of jealousy, envy,
Yes.
greed.
Yes, a lot of people say money. Money is green. Yeah, so it's the green earth, healthy, wonderful, green, but it's also like toxic waste, poison. I would say if you're eating green, you're healthy, but if you're feeling green, you're sick. Weird, right? Colors have different meanings. There's green and yellow working together, like toxic waste. So as you go out into the world, you're going to look at colors a little differently now, right? The same color means two different things in two different contexts. All right, color is also about your eyes and science and how it works. So we're going to go over briefly kind of a little bit about how color gets into your brain through your eye. It goes through the lens at the front of the eye and hits the back of the eye in a little area called the fovea. The fovea has sensing receptors there. There are two kinds, cones and rods. The rods help you see dark and light. And if you want to be able to see in the dark better, my ophthalmologist told me, eat more vitamin K. So lots of kale, and you'll have better night vision. The cones, on the other hand, sense color, and there are three kinds: red, green, and blue. Between those three sensing nerves, we see all the color we see. They work in tangent together to help us see all the colors formulated in our brain as color. There's also color blindness, which is either caused by genetic malfunction where the cones aren't present, or over time they get diminished. Older people have less sensitivity color, which is why I think really old people dress in super loud colors maybe. I'm not there yet. I'm still wearing black. So, can everybody read these numbers starting in the upper left? Everyone say it once.
7, 6, 26, 37, 73, 74, 45.
Yay, Ashley. All right, 50 points for Hufflepuff. If you can't see the numbers, you might be colorblind, and you should let us know, because there's ways to work through that as a designer, given the tools that we have today. Most people know that kind of early on, but I've had a couple of students who got to this point and suddenly discovered that they were colorblind. So just let us know. There's also a condition called tetrachromacy, and this is a belief that there are certain, it's a theory that certain humans have not just 3 cones, but 4 cones. 4 cones, and I'm sorry, laughing at Shana. There would only be women because of the way the chromosomes work. But the researcher I heard talking about this said he was with this woman who he believed to be a tetrachromat, and there was a beautiful clear blue sky, and he said, "There's the blue sky. Do you see blue?" And she said, "Yeah, I also see pink." It's like, there's no pink there. But she's seeing a color. She's using the word to describe it, pink, but it's a color that we can't see. We don't experience. We don't know what it is. So when you think about it, language and being able to talk about color is a big piece of it. Because pink certainly isn't the color she saw, but there's no word for it. So what is it? Makes you think, right? All right. Now, I need you all to look at the screen, stop folding laundry, stare at the white dot in the center of the screen for 30 seconds, and I'll tell you what's happening to your eyes. So one of the great attributes of human beings is our ability to adapt to our surroundings. And if you think about it, as you walk from bright sunlight into a dark room, your eyes have to adjust before you can see. At first, you can't see anything. Your eyes adjust, and then you can see. You go from a dark room back out into the sunlight, and again, you can't see at first, but then your eyes adjust to your surroundings. Well, the same is true for color. If you stare at one color long enough, when it's suddenly removed, you see the opposite, right? Did everyone see that? I hurt Ashley's eyes. Yeah, so that's called an after image. And the reason you need to know this as a designer is because your eyes are one of your tools you're using to assess color, to look at color, and you need to know how they can play tricks on you and how you can be fooled by certain things. So if stare at a color long enough, it doesn't seem very vibrant or vivid, but it really is. You've just been looking at it too long. How we talk about color is important. There's Pantone, PMS, we'd say red, fire engine red. What would you use? How would you describe it? The spectrum is a great construct, an way of understanding the universe that helps us understand color. You've all seen this, Roy G. Biv. Everyone knows what that is, right? If you don't, let me know. The spectrum shows us all the visible light that we can see as humans. So off to the left side, where we can't see, what is there that we cannot see? You can feel it when you go out into the bright sunlight.
Someone just said, I wish I could see the ultraviolet spectrum.
That's the other side, Shana. This infrared we're talking about. Infrared is literally hotter than the other colors. It makes your skin feel warm when it hits you. It's kind of a good thing that we don't see infrared, because I think the world would be confusing with the sunlight streaming down. You wouldn't be able to navigate the world. Um, and then on the other side, as Shayna has foreshadowed, is ultraviolet. Now, you can start to see ultraviolet a little bit with black lights. So Shayna, get yourself some black lights and then put up some old-fashioned 70s posters and you'll start to see that ultraviolet. All right, this word spectrum was created by Isaac Newton. What do you know Isaac Newton from? What did he do?
Newton's law of gravity.
Yeah, he came up with the universal laws of gravitation. It says that right on the screen. Here's the interesting tidbit for you guys. He was a student at Oxford, and they had the plague in Europe. So they sent everyone home from school. And while he was home from school, he came up with the universal laws of gravitation. He was like 20 years old. So what have you done lately? He also did experiments with light. He cut a hole in his window shade and he put a prism in there, and he speculated that the white light was being broken into its component parts, which he called the spectrum. Everyone said, "You're crazy. The glass is just adding color to the light," which seems logical, but he proved them wrong by taking another prism and turning it back into white light. And in fact, he was correct for reasons he couldn't possibly have known, but photons are particles and waves, and when they hit the glass, they slow down, the waves slow down at different rates, and it does break apart the white light into its component parts, which you can see clearly. It's great when it's kind of a misty, rainy day and the sun's at the right position, and you can see the refracted light through the rain, making a rainbow. There are other color scientists. Louis Prang, he came up with the red, yellow, and blue primaries. Ostwald, he was another scientist who sort of tried to prove some of Newton's theories were wrong, but ended up reconfirming them. And that's his color wheel that he created. The Bauhaus, a powerful force in art and culture, only used primary colors, red, yellow, blue. This is a painting you're looking at from Piet Mondrian. Mondrian hated green, had no green in his studio. And then we're up to Johannes Itten, student of the Bauhaus. He gave us the quote that we read at the very beginning of the lecture. Wrote a book called The Elements of Color, Color Chords. One of his students was Joseph Albers, who lived in the United States and taught at art school. But he had this idea that color is relative, which means color looks different based on the surrounding colors. He did many, many paintings like this with surrounding colors and changed them up slightly. And he made scientific notations on the backs of the canvases saying what colors they were. Kind of an interesting guy. But just to show you what it looks like. So if you have two different blues, different surroundings around the same color blue, you can see that's the same color blue, but it looks so different when it's not connected. See that? It's my big special effect for the night. Color structure. So what you're looking at here, see all these numbers here? This is the graphic standards from the YMCA. And by the time you're done with this course, you will understand and use all these numbers. You'll know what it all means and how to understand and structure color. Aren't you excited? They did look the same to you, Shayna. Well, you should do your own experiments to see if you can find the ones that look different to you. Because it is true. If you think about it, art galleries, right? What color are the walls?
White.
Yeah, they're always white. Typically, they're white. The reason for that is they don't want to interfere with the colors of the artwork. So you keep it white, it has less interference. But white actually has an influence as well. So we shift from the left brain of color, which is scientifically describing it. There are all kinds of systems for understanding color. The real basic one that we're going to use is the color wheel. It actually is a tool for designers. So Let's break down a color wheel. First, we start off with the primary colors, red, blue, yellow. What makes a primary primary? You can't make it with other colors. That's right, Bryant. If you mix two primaries together, though, you get what's called a secondary color. And these are the three secondary colors, violet, orange, and green. If you mix a primary and a secondary together, you get a tertiary, and thereby we have a 12-step color wheel. And we're going to use this for our hero portrait assignment, the first one, to understand color relationships. If you looked at it like a family tree, there's the grandparents, so the primaries, the parents are all the secondaries, and all the grandkids are the tertiaries, maybe. Oops. Oh, my lecture is, I don't know what is going on with, this happened this morning. Okay. I think it has something to do with the video content I had coming up. So I'm gonna skip over that. No, I was here. This should not cause problems. Look at that. You got me.
Maybe just open it, but don't play it.
Yeah, that's what sorry about this, folks. All right, where were we? Here. All right, here. Hue, saturation, brightness, and value. These are the key terms that we need to know everything about to do our work in color. So let's go through them. I'm sure you've all heard these before, but let's just go through them and define them real clearly. So hue, when we talk about hue, that's where you are on the color wheel. With your color picker selected here, right? If you select the radio button for hue, this strip right here becomes a color wheel. If you see, that's a color wheel that's been unfurled, stretched out into a strip. If you notice this little circle here to the right, does anybody know what that stands for?
Does that mean it's a primary color?
Nope, this stands for degrees. That's the degree symbol.
Okay.
So hue is measured in 360 degrees around a circle because it's a color wheel, right? So 0 degrees is red. What do you think 360 is? Yes, Bryant, red. It is also red. They're both the same because they're at the top of the circle. So think of it like a compass. Due north is 0 degrees, you know, that's red. And as you go around the color wheel, every degree, every number signifies a different color. Brightness is a measure of how much black is in the color. Now this is confusing for students, and I know this is on the quiz, so if you're watching the video or you're here live, you get the answer. Brightness and black, how much black is in the color? They both start with the letter B. It's measured in percentages, so 100% brightness is full color, 0% brightness is black. All right. Now, saturation is a measure of how much white is in the color. 100% saturation is pure color, and 0% is white. You see, with these three attributes, hue, saturation, brightness, you can really navigate around color quite a bit. Now, you have these other measurements as well. They're important to know about. Each one stands for a different color space. So RGB is red, green, blue. That's screen colors. CMYK is print colors. And lab, which stands for luminance on the AB axis, is a different color space that requires you to convert things before they can be seen on any device. So really not that useful for us as designers. Some people who do photo retouching really like it, but ultimately you have to convert to either RGB or CMYK. Now, as you look at the color picker, just to explain, all these numbers are active at the same time. With the radio button selected, you're just activating this strip into what you're looking at. But this red color is a 25500 RGB color. It's also 99 magenta, 100% yellow color. So it's just telling you the information for each color space. Value is a measure of light and darkness separate from color. Pantone, you've heard of Pantone? Pantone PMS, Pantone Matching System, is a for-profit company, and they specifically make these books that are fantastic for matching colors. The way it works is you have these printed sheets that have little notations at the bottom of each color swatch. And if I call a printer in California and I say, I want a 186 red, he can look in his Pantone book and see the exact same red that I'm looking at. So it's a great way to communicate colors. If you're ever printing anything, it's kind of the gold standard, the main thing that people use for specifying colors. So now I'm going to try to play this video, see if it works. If it's really poor sound or something, just let me know in the chat window and I'll cut it off.
We sit in a really unique vantage point. We're touching so many different industries, whether it's graphic design, fashion, interiors, cosmetics, industrial design. We're able to really look at that broad array of color trends and preferences and bring them into the new systems that we launch here.
The first time I heard of Pantone was when I was designing for prints, and I discovered how I needed these little paper chips to do anything. Pantone gives color form. It gives shape, system, organization to color, and we all need color for everything. Color is infinite. You can always split the difference between two colors. In the development of the Pantone Plus series, our color engineers picked out points within color space for us to create a new color. We inputted that point into the formulation system and developed a specific recipe. Once we have this ink recipe, our ink technicians turn it into an ink, turn it into a print, and from that point on, the birth of a new color exists.
Sometimes we're looking at color ranges that exist and we're just getting a little more complex. Other times we're adding brand new color categories like the neons, the pastels, and the new colored metallics.
If you're going into production, the word from the printer or the supplier is, give me a Pantone. What Pantone is it? I'll match it. I mean, the things that I've learned throughout my career in working with major brands is that color accuracy is really important. Consistency is a measure of a brand, and if it's the same every time, you win. If it's slightly different each time, it's awful.
This is the Pantone press room. 2 printing presses that drive the manufacture of all Pantone publications. This press is the manufacturing key to Pantone. This press allows us to print 28 colors in one impression through the press. There is no other printing press in the world that can do this.
We have a very unique place in the ecosystem that is color design. So as we were looking at new product development, we were listening to our customers, and they were telling us, we want more color. We want a new design that's more intuitive. We want digital tools. So Pantone Plus is really the result of that kind of input from designers across platform, across the world.
224 new colors were added, and the digital solutions that we've married up with them allow them to be used in current workflows. The Pantone Color Manager is software that we'll be releasing with Pantone Plus. It is a digital representation of all of our fan decks, and it allows a designer or anyone working with Pantone colors to be able to push those digital values into all of their design applications. And over the history of the development of the book, new sections have been added on at the end, which broke the family orientation of the book. The book has been reordered now so that all families' colors are next to each other in a predictable manner. My favorite Pantone color? Old 32 Red.
We use color in design to convey certain feelings, emotions, or meanings. I use Pantone as kind of a universal color language. I actually don't know what I would do if we didn't have the Pantone chips. I guess I would take a client out on the streets and point to the cab and say, is that the yellow you want? I really don't know.
I think color is one of the most powerful things in the world. I think the ability for there to be new stories in color, just because there's more, I think is going to be great.
So there you have it, Pantone. Pantone, as you said, you can push the digital values into your apps. You don't need to because Adobe has supplied them all to you. There are other color systems too, Focal Tone, Anpa, Toyo. Munsell is a big one, but honestly, in my 30 plus years working in design, I've never used anything but Pantone. Have you, Sabrina?
Nothing but Pantone.
Yeah, it's pretty ubiquitous, at least in the United States, you know. So it's a good thing to know about. You're going to use Pantone colors in your hero portrait coming up. And there's a lesson on how to find your Pantone colors. There's a video lesson in the assignment, which I'll show you in a little bit. You're not doing this? Okay. Color collage. All right. For a painter, gray is the richest color, the one that makes all the others speak. Paul Clay, what was he talking about? What is gray? How do we use gray in our artwork? What does it do for us?
Creates shadow, depth.
Yes, exactly, Ashley. So it creates highlight and shadow, creates depth, creates structure. And believe it or not, this is almost how your computers work. You build that structure first, and then you add color. We're going to start off creating a sort of black and white portrait, and then you're going to add color to it. This is a drawing by Degas. You know Degas, like the fantastic impressionist. He did these beautiful pastel drawings of the ballet dancers. It all comes to your mind. But he also understood the importance of understanding the value, light and shadow. He did a lot of pencil sketches, sort of doing studies on portraits, light and shadow. This is Matisse, a monoprint by him, which he also was a fantastic impressionist, but understood the value of black and white. And then this is Degas' drawing of Matisse, who was he had the super hipster beard, believe it or not. So you're going to do a hero portrait. That's what I've been alluding to. You're going to do a portrait and make a t-shirt. It can be any person living or dead, but no fictional characters. So you can do family members, people from history, people who are alive, musical artists, anybody that you admire, you want to do your hero portrait about. The reason I say no fictional characters is because fictional characters are the result of someone else's imagination. And I want you to create your own sort of original artwork for this. Now, it might seem a little intimidating, but we're going to go step by step. So the first thing to do is you're going to create a 4-color grayscale illustration file in Illustrator, and then we're going to convert it into colors, and then you're going to make a t-shirt mock-up. So I'll show you some student examples here. Now, this student did H.P. Lovecraft, who is an author who did these sort of monster stories. So it's more than just doing the head of a person translated into Illustrator. You're creating something, a statement, sort of a piece of art. you can see that he's added these additional elements. The expression on his face is very ominous and scary. That all has to do with who he is and what the story is. Now, in this illustration, you have 4 colors: black, white, and 2 grays, light gray and dark gray. That's all you get. You cannot use gradients, you can't use drop shadows, beware of special effects and things like that, because what you're doing is simulating a screen print, which would be all flat colors. Here's another one by a student, sort of a V for victory out of these machine guns, but again, just using black, white, light gray, and dark gray, and that is all. Frida Kahlo, and this student did a sort of low poly thing, which somehow fits with Frida Kahlo. And again, just using light gray, dark gray, black and white. Now you can use halftone dots, but as long as everything is full 100% opacity, full color, and you just have 4 colors. Simon Boulevard, the hero of Venezuela, light gray, dark gray, black and white. And again, this has a sort of haunting style to it. It's different. It's not just another head translated into Illustrator. This is Nelson Mandela. You can add a couple of words if you want. This is this guy whose name I forget, who had a TV show called Top Gear. So you can see sort of the racing flag and the gear behind him. And who's this? Does anybody know? Ashley knows.
John Picard.
Yeah, John Picard. Well, yes, but given that you're not allowed to do fictional characters, you want to take another guess?
I'm bad with actors' real names, but I can remember all of their actors' name, like the characters they play.
Yes, awesome.
People are saying Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, Samantha and Jennifer got it right. Patrick Stewart, yeah. So this really does look like Patrick Stewart, but there's not much of a concept here. It's just sort of a head. There's some bars in the background. It's got a little bit of a style to it, and it's well done, but I'm looking for something that's more of a creative statement from you guys. So when you consider this, consider first of all who you're picking, that you're passionate about them, and then if they're super famous, you don't want to like pick famous photos of them and translate them. You're creating your own artwork. Oops, I jumped ahead. So that is task 1, create the grayscale portrait. Task 2 is create the color relationships, and there's a video on FSO that's going to show you how to do that. I'm not going to go through all this. Hold on. Because I put it into a video because there wasn't enough time in the lecture to do it all. Let me bring up a student example. All right, so this is Paola's. She did Harry Styles. Now, Harry Styles is pretty famous. So she took a photo of him. She added a butterfly sort of silhouette in the background, added some type, kind of ate into the composition a little bit with these leaf elements at the bottom. But if you notice, it's sort of a freestanding piece of art. It's not cropped, it's not in a box. And that really works the best for a t-shirt. Now, Sabrina posted a great little article about t-shirt design. It's also helpful, but you'll see this, your composition, you don't want to, you're not doing a poster, right? You're doing a t-shirt. So make it sort of freestanding composition. Then you create the color relationships, monochromatic, complementary, split complementary, double complementary, analogous, triadic. You're going to pick your final design that you love and do color separations. And there's a video showing you how to do that. Once you do that, you're going to put together this t-shirt mock-up. And that's the entire project. So this will all be due by Sunday. Any immediate questions from what I've just told you? Everyone's got it. All right, let me go through the assignment here. So this is the week 1 hero portrait. You will see the different tasks broken out. The key thing is you want to download this group of files before you start. This is your your toy set. So you're going to use these files to create this assignment. So make sure you get those. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar with InDesign, there's this LinkedIn Learning video, 30 minutes. It'll give you some basic foundation stuff. Hopefully it'll get you going, and then you'll have video instruction using the templates. Now, some people love to draw and they're really good at it. If you love to draw and you're going to use a drawing as your artwork, watch this video. Some people don't love to draw and prefer to use photographic reference. If you're going to use photographic reference, this is the video to watch. You're welcome to watch both of them, but just to save you time, I'm saying this is where you should go. Now, there's a guide here. So what makes good work? An interesting composition, freestanding, good use of the grayscale, and it makes a statement. It's not just a floating head. These are cropped. They look like posters maybe, but they're just sort of poor attempts at creating a head in Illustrator. This one has a lot of rough detail in there that's just from translating the photo into Illustrator. Don't do this. And
Can
then
I just say something real quick?
Yes.
Last month we had a lot of stars. I'd like to see designs without stars.
Yes. And if you're really into stars, we'll give you a tutorial on stars. And then this is poor work. You just take a photo, bring it into Illustrator, auto trace it, and call it a day. Or this one, this has all this sort of artifacts. It does, what I want to see is your work is deliberate, that it's actually intentional. You don't have all these little jaggy pieces and stuff that are just picked up from the photo. This one doesn't really use grayscale effectively. Like the light and shadow is all off. There's like his face is basically flat, and then there are like shadows on the cheekbones, which it's inverted from what it would actually be probably. So think about light and shadow, how you're using that when you get to that point. So everyone should be at this level. That's where we're headed. Do awesome work. Task 2, create the color relationships. Here's a video that explains color relationships, how to do that. And here's how to technically do it with your file. And this is all about Pantone. It's a short movie, but it shows you how to pick your Pantone colors. You're going to create color separations. Now here's a long description of what is in this video. I know this is a little tough for students. So if you get stuck, don't spend hours and hours aching over this. Reach out for help and we'll try to help you. And then you're going to put it into a t-shirt mock-up. And then task 5 is create an Adobe Spark. I say Spark, but you can use any video tool you want to create a video presentation of all your work by Sunday. And this is how you'll be graded. So you have an interesting concept, you did the color relationships right, you did your color separations right, you did your mock-up well, and you completed your presentation. 100% A+, A+. Call the folks back home and tell them you're doing great. All right, any questions after all that? Yes, Samantha. So that's why I say plan your time well. Remember, the first milestone you hit is the discussion on Thursday. So you want to have work that you can submit to the discussion. Now I'm saying submit the grayscale because that's sort of the minimum, but you could submit as much work as you want to this discussion and we'll give you some feedback. And thereby it sort of helps you stay on track and create the ultimate work that you want to do for Sunday. Any other questions? All right.